Oh. I slept cold and wet last night. I think it's pretty early still. I'm gonna get cleaned up, pack up a little bit, and then go pan for gold for a little bit. And then I think we'll shoot for Independence Pass today. Starting to warm up a little bit. Nice, I had some wood left over to dry out. It's not even 7 a.m. yet, so we got lots of time left in the day. I'm gonna have to start going to bed earlier. Oh my goodness, I don't think I said about last night either, but the ride back was absolutely miserable. The rain was much worse than when I left here. and it was pitch dark out, and it had been raining for 4 hours at that point. Terrible, miserable ride back, but I went to Tennessee Pass for dinner. I've been there before. It's a good spot in Leadville, and whatever that old saloon is on their main street, hung out there. I was like, I'll just like hang out there and have a beer until the rain stops, but it never stopped until they closed, so just ended up riding back in it. So I ate a little bit of snack pre-breakfast, let's call it, and I'll go pan for an hour or two, and then go find some place to eat breakfast. I packed the bike up and everything. I'm gonna leave all this stuff set up to dry while I'm panning, get some airflow. All right, I kind of got stuff put away a little bit. I discovered my helmet soaking wet, so I've got it drying kind of there on the fire. Put it back together now. So stuff's hanging up to dry that needs to, and we're good to go pan for an hour or so. Oh, you know what? I need my snuffer. But other than that, let's roll. It is turning into a very nice morning. Warming up as the sun comes up. 7:41 a.m. I am gonna need a nap today, I think. That's like the third night in a row of sleeping terribly. Oh well. Okay, let's go. Here's the spot. The camp is literally just 200 yards that way. I actually drove through here yesterday, so you could see. The bike is looking dirty and wet, and well, it'll dry off in the sun and it's just gonna get dirtier. So we need to get down to some water for panning, so we'll go all the way down to the edge of this this area here. Right there's where we get on granite, and then we ride up that dirt road, the cemetery, and then we're camped right about here. So stuff like this, get wiped off. Piece of quartz with some iron staining on there. That's a good indicator of gold. I mean, I already know there's gold here, so it doesn't... Oh, here's a giant chunk in the path also. I already know there's gold here, so it doesn't tell us anything, but the way gold ends up in the mountains of Colorado is all the molten rocks and stuff from underneath the Earth's crust pushed up through the cracks in the crust when the mountains formed, and they basically like squirted liquid rocks up through the cracks, and then when they cooled, there were these veins of rock and minerals, and gold and quartz and iron are all kind of found together in those liquid rocks. So if you see quartz and iron staining, you could guess that there might be gold there. Whew! That altitude's got me. I'm out of breath. Oh, there looks like it might be a spot. Yeah, somebody's been digging here. Woo! I don't think they'll mind if we borrow their spot for an hour. Digging way up under the bank. That's good, it saves us a lot of work. So what I need when we're looking at a spot to pan, I need some water, standing water that's, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches deep to pan in. And some good place to take dirt from is number one, but they've already done that for us, so lucky us. Just realized I left a snuffer bottle at the camp, so I'm gonna run back and grab it real quick before we really get started. I did a test pan just to see if this spot was worth coming back to, and it was, I mean, there was a couple flakes, but nothing much. So maybe we'll go there, or maybe, I didn't even see all those spots before. I'll grab the snuffer and I'll just keep doing test pans until we find a decent spot and then hang out there for a little bit. All right, we're back. Wow, they were digging way up under the bank too. I got a stick so I don't have to dig with the pan anymore. Let's keep going up the creek a little bit. See what we see. So really what I'm looking for is a nice spot to pan, someplace good to pull dirt from. Oh, this is nice. Somebody's digging a hole. I'll take some test pans from under there, and there was a hole back under here that had a big old piece of boulder exposed. I'll show you what I'm talking about. See, stuff like this, where that's all packed down on there, gold can catch and stay above or below that. But we'll do some pans and see. All right, so a pan there turned out, you know, a decent amount of little flakes, so I'm gonna suck them up into my bottle and then pull a few more pans out of there. I'll show you kind of where I'm digging from and what I'm doing too. So here's that first hole we were at. So there's like rock, and this is like some kind of dissolving like rock of some kind, but you can see that round stone right there. Underneath that there's some, it seems like it's hard pack, like you know, river stone and stuff from a riverbed, which is good because that's what we want. So I was kind of scraping up from underneath there. And I'll try a couple more pans and see if it's still good, and if it's not, we move on to a different spot. But I think we should be able to get a little bit out of here. I'm gonna take you along doing a pan and talk you through it so you can see what it looks like firsthand. So first I'm gonna scrape some dirt out of the bottom of here. This would be way easier with a shovel. Yeah, so these rocks have definitely been in a river at some time. You can see the iron staining on this one too.
So that's good because placer mining, which is what we're doing, only works because gold is 17 times denser than water, and I think like 5 to 10 times denser than other rocks. So nature concentrates it for us in water. So it flows down the water, and in the spots where the current slows down, so you would find this creek is just going to be blown out because everyone pans here, but at an empty creek you would expect to find all the heavy minerals right at the bottom of that little waterfall right there, because what happens is they as the water slows down, all the you know, if you had the water slow down enough, everything would drop out. If you had the water not slow down any, nothing would drop out and land on the bottom of the creek bed. So there's a middle ground in there where gold drops out and nothing else does, theoretically. I'm bringing the pan with me, so when we come across some streams, we'll do some actual prospecting. This is kind of like, because there are so many people here and so many people pan, you can't go to normal spots. You have to dig big holes in the side of the hill. Normally I would be pulling all my dirt out of the creek bed, but so the first thing I'm doing here is there's a lot of like clay and organic matter, and you see all that shiny stuff is all mica floating around in there. So just washing all the dirt, all the mud that will dissolve into water, because really we just want stones left. So that's pretty good. And while I'm doing it, I'm chucking out big rocks just to save me some time later. And here's that quartz again with that orange iron staining. So all of this material was weathered out of the mountain above us, and all the gold that was in those little veins of ore that we talked about streams down the creek, and it collects at those dead spots in the water. And if you know where to look and you know how to pan, you can find it depending on how much there is. So after I've gotta stretch my leg out a little bit. After I got all the mud out, what I'm doing now is like this swirling motion is just to mix and distribute, and this is a good chance for me to pick out rocks because I see them flash past. So I'm mixing and distributing, and then I transition into this side to side, at the same time tipping the pan downwards. And what's happening here, if you can see, all those little rocks are dancing around and moving. They're fluidized. What's happening is all the light rocks are rising to the surface of that, and the heavy rocks are going to the bottom. So once again, that density difference, we're taking advantage of that. Like it happens in the stream, we're doing the same thing in the pan. So shaking, 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 and now if you can imagine, all of the gold is in the bottom crack there. All the heaviest stuff in this pan is in the very bottom corner. So we'll tilt, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the water to help remove that light stuff that's sitting on top. And then that move is just to shake everything off the ripples. These ripples in the pan there help the gold from sliding out the pan underneath everything. So gotta rinse those out like that, spin it up to mix it. Then it's rinse and repeat until we're down to a very, like a teaspoon of sand basically. And you can already start to see that the sand appears to be getting darker. And the reason for that is gold is like 10 times heavier than other, you know, like quartz and stuff like that, basically, roughly. So kind of the next densest thing in the pan other than gold is hematite and magnetite, so iron oxides. And they are black sand. So those little, I don't know if you ever had those little magnets that you throw up in the air. Pretty sure those are magnetite, aren't they? Now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm not sure that's true. But they're just, this is just basically powder form of black stone And it stays in the bottom with the gold because it's much heavier than just regular old sand, silica. So now I'm getting gentle, and we got to the point where those big riffles are too big, so I'll move over a little bit to these. All right, let's take a look. So I'm gonna grab my snuffer. This little guy is just like a condiment bottle with a tube, and what it lets you do is like just use it as a squirt gun basically and suck up water and sand. So what I'll do is, now that we have very little sand, we'll shake it all into one corner, and this is where the real finesse of panning comes in, is in getting the little tiny flakes of gold removed from that last teaspoon. But we'll get them kind of off to their own side and suck them up with the snuffer. So I think lots of people have techniques for this. We'll start first by shaking everything down into that corner, and then a guy around here taught me a technique for bumping it with your palm. And what this does is it actually it does that concentrating motion, except pushes all the heavy stuff to the left. So if you can see how all the brown silica sand is all on the right side now. So what we can do is keep bumping, and that gold's gonna work its way from the center there all the way to this corner, and then we'll know exactly where it is for when we want to pull it out. Okay, so now I'm expecting all the gold to be in an area there, and we'll tap the pan down. Give it a couple rinses. So tapping the top like that, oh yeah, there's a flake. Not a very good spot though, honestly. Tapping the top like that does that same concentrating motion, but it'll actually work the gold uphill. So I tilt the pan backwards and tap while everything's underwater, and the heavy particles will actually walk their way up. So I'm gonna suck those couple little guys up. You can see how it pulls all that sand up there too. And there we are. I'll pan. So now I've done a couple pans. You can see there's some black sand in the bottom of that snuffer bottle. So when I'm done here, I'll probably do one or two more pans. I'll pan this out into a pan and take a photo of it with my phone so you guys can see better. This is really not a very good spot. That hole's not very good. I think if I put more time into finding a better spot, we'd have a better time. But honestly, I don't like doing this as much as I like prospecting a virgin stream, or as virgin a stream as you can get in the Rockies. So when we come across some places that look likely, I'll be using those clues. So looking up at the mountain faces above, because that's where the gold comes from. And oftentimes you can see old adits or mining structures up there, and then you know that that creek probably has gold in it because there's gold up on that mountain. And we'll look for those pieces of quartz with the iron staining. Gold rides an iron horse, that's what the prospectors say. And do a couple test pans and see if we can find some in the wild, not at this spot. I'm gonna do a couple other pans, and then I'm ready to go get some breakfast. I am hungry. Let's check the time. It's 9:10 in the morning. I've already been doing this for an hour and a half. Some dummy left the f***ing ignition on, and now the bike's out. It doesn't have any juice. Oh man, would have been nice to figure this out before I got all that on the bike. I don't have to try and bump start it, push start it. did not work. However, that guy has jumper cables, he said. All right. That nice man just let me jump the bike off his truck. Whew. Don't stall it. Feeling rejuvenated. I'm in the town of Twin Lakes and we're about to do the Independence Pass, which I'm really looking forward to. That way. It's supposed to be very exceedingly pretty, so I'm expecting it to be a little chilly, so I got my hoodie on. Time to go. Had a Gatorade and some lunch at the general store and hung out for a while. Feel a little bit better, recovered from yesterday. Oh baby, I want to get wet again. Doing rock climbing. Quite a face.